Hello, my name is Dan Rice and I am the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Ohio Erie Canalway Coalition. And I would like to extend my gratitude to each and every one of you for your continued tremendous support for the Ohio Erie Canalway, the Towpath Trail, and Connector Trails. Working together, we are truly creating a legacy for future generations.
And I'm Jeff Harold, Chair of the Board. On behalf of the Ohio Erie Canalway Coalition's Board of Directors, welcome to the 2024 Canal Boat Captain's Ball, honoring Dr. Cliff Deveny, President and Chief Executive Officer of Summa Health. Cliff is joining an elite group of regional visionary leaders who share a deep passion and unrelenting commitment to Northeast Ohio and the Ohio and Erie Canalway.
You're absolutely correct, Jeff. We are so excited to be honoring Dr. Deveny because Dr. Deveny has been a longtime supporter as well as an active user of the Ohio and Erie Canalway and the Towpath Trail. But more importantly, Dr. Deveny understands that connection between trail development and health and wellness and equity in public spaces. So we're really excited to have him join us this year.
Absolutely. Our mission continues to be important as ever in 2024 to develop this trail as a community resource while promoting the natural, recreational, cultural, and historical resources throughout the Ohio and Erie Canalway National Heritage Area.
Jeff, 2024 is shaping up to be a year full of events and programs, activities, as well as trail development throughout the Ohio and Erie Canalway National Heritage Area. We are so excited to be reporting that an additional 2 miles of the Ohio and Erie Canal Towpath Trail in Tuscarawas County from Zorville to State Route 416 is currently under construction as we speak, and it's scheduled to be completed by this fall. Also, working in partnership with our community partners and sponsors, we scheduled 8 canal cleanups to help steward the Ohio and Erie Canal and the Towpath Trail. And as you are very well aware, our resident-led Akron Civic Commons, Lock 3, and Summit Lake Park projects along the Ohio and Erie Canal Towpath Trail continue to make progress. And finally, one of I know your favorite events, the Ohio and Erie Canalway Fishing Derby is scheduled for Wednesday, May 22nd along the Ohio and Erie Canal for our school-aged children. This completely free event that we provide fishing poles, bait, tackle to all students and their parents is really a wonderful event.
Fund a need. Absolutely, the Ohio and Erie Canalway Fishing Derby is a wonderful opportunity, and one of my favorites, as Dan mentioned, for children and their parents to enjoy an afternoon of free fishing while learning about the Ohio and Erie Canalway and Towpath Trail. As part of the event, we are continuing the tradition of having a fishing derby fund a need. The Fishing Derby is an educational, hands-on event for Akron area school-aged children, grades 3 through 4, that teaches them a new hobby and the importance of environmental stewardship. Each year, we welcome students in an engaging evening of fishing, and each child is able to take home their fishing pole.
It truly is a wonderful event. It has a tremendous impact on children's lives. So on behalf of the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, we would like to thank our Canal Boat Captain supporters, committee members, and sponsors who make this event possible.
We hope you will join us for the virtual auction taking place May 8th through the 15th. Bid high, bid often, and please consider a donation to the Fishing Derby Fund a Need.
So on behalf of the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition, congratulations to Dr. Cliff Deveny for being our honorary Canal Boat Captain, and we salute you and thank you for your support and passion for the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition.
I've had the opportunity of really serving the Summit County community through the Summit Health System board for the last 4 years. And so I've been able to work really close with Cliff. I guess technically I would be one of his mini bosses. And so it's been really a pleasure to work alongside of him for Summa Health Systems.
So Cliff, as you may know, Cliff is, to use Archie Bunker's pronunciation, a gynecologist, and so I haven't had occasion personally to use his medical services, but I do know that he's a very well-esteemed physician. But I've known him more on a personal and family level. His family and mine have grown up together. I know all of his siblings and his parents and his children, and so we've had a wonderful relationship over the years on a personal level.
Well, my name is Rose Skinner, and we go way, way, way back. As a matter of fact, it all started back years ago in the cancer research program at Summa. back in those days, was Akron City Hospital. And Dr. William Fair, who is now deceased, was head of the cancer research program, and I was a supervisor. And his goal was to give young students a time to work in the cancer research. And so we had to select the students that we wanted to participate. And of course, obviously, I chose Cliff. And Cliff was a great worker. He was dedicated, devoted, and diligent. And whatever I asked him to do, he always did that. Then after he went away to school, and I didn't see him for a while, so we didn't keep in touch or anything, but I just heard about him and how he was doing and what he was doing. I was always so pleased with his accomplishments. And I love him dearly. And his mom and I were very close. As a matter of fact, he called me his second mom. And so that's the kind of relationship we had.
So my name is Chuck Zonfa. I'm the Chief Quality Officer at Summa Health. And I've known Dr. Deveny for over 30 years. First met him when I was a resident, and he was my attending. And so I was a student under his guidance, and then joined his practice at Valley OBGYN, and now work directly for him as a member of his executive leadership team.
So I'm Steve Millard. I'm the president of the Greater Akron Chamber, and I have the privilege of having Dr. Deveny serve on my board and my executive committee. Got to know Cliff about 6 years ago or so when I first came to the community. We've built a pretty tremendous health program for small businesses. With him and his team, under his leadership, Summa's been a long-time supporter of the Chamber, and we've built some interesting value together for our small businesses.
Yeah, so I've had a chance to really watch Cliff and his leadership approach during some of the most difficult times, if you think about 2020 and the global pandemic. And what Cliff does as a leader is he's very resilient in his approach to the community. What he says, he means, and he really supports the Akron and Summit County community as a whole.
Well, I think Cliff leads by you asked about his leadership style, and Cliff leads by example. Part of how I know Cliff is that he went to Firestone High School, which is where my kids went to school, and he was a Firestone swimmer. And anybody who's familiar with the Firestone swimming program knows it is an elite program. Cliff and many others were all Americans there. He went on to swim at Denison, which is an all-powerful swimming program. If you've ever done those 4-hour-a-day swimming practice starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know what a disciplined and hardworking sort of person that takes. And Cliff has never been fearful of a challenge, and he finds challenges as something that he needs to take on, much to the benefit of our community.
So I think, as a physician, Cliff always had a humility. He deferred to the entire team. He always showed gratitude and respect to all those that he worked with. In fact, I spoke before doing this video to the office staff at our old office. He treated everybody with respect, and they have such admiration for him. It's evident when you speak to them. And he has Cliffisms. So I remember him coming on to labor and delivery as a student, and he always said things like, "What's shaking, bacon?" Or he would, if somebody did something for him, he would say, "You're the greatest." And you would see them just beam with that respect and that gratitude that he showed. And that's how he approaches us on his executive leadership team and his interactions with the community. So it's not unusual to be out in the community, and when people will find out that I work at Summa Health, they say, "Oh, do you know Dr. Deveny?" And when I say yes, they always tell me how he either delivered them or their children, or they talk about the great care that he gave them or their family members, and it's always enjoyable to hear those stories.
Dr. Deveny is somebody who is Greater Akron through and through. He's somebody who resonates with the things that are important to the people here. He's got that kind of same grit and sort of hardworking nature, I think, that a lot of folks have here. He also has been around long enough to sort of cut quickly through the relationships that are important to have. And he is a great connector of resources. He is somebody who's very willing to take a phone call directly, which also sometimes is not common in people at his role. And he's super responsive. So I find him to be somebody that really cares deeply about this community, and somebody who's always thinking about what are we doing next and what are we doing next together and collaboratively. I think he believes in the value of collaboration among many partners, and he shows that to me in a lot of the work that we do.
From a legacy perspective, I would think Cliff's been instrumental in moving Summa forward to a future of better. He continues to look at continuous improvement, and he leverages his time, his talent, and also his personal treasure to make Akron a better place.
Your question about Dr. Deveny's influence on my career and our community. He took on the job of the presidency of Summa Hospital, which is the #1 employer in Summit County. That, of course, is a significant challenge, and then he led it through the pandemic, which was, the first time in 100 years we had a health challenge like that. So he couldn't take on a tougher job at a tougher time. And Cliff did that and helped them soldier through some very difficult times when the challenges were great, and I think we are all very much indebted to that. I know I have used Summa Hospital. I'm sure virtually everyone present at this event has used Summa Hospital at one time or another.
I can tell you that when Cliff took the role leading our health system, both the physicians and the staff were ecstatic about it because he's an Akron guy and he cares about this community and he lives in this community. So we are very diligent about making sure what we do at Summa Health improves the wellness of the community we serve and ensures that the quality of life is improving. And not for a subset, but for everybody.
3 words that I would use to describe Dr. Deveny: responsive, thoughtful, community-minded.
3 words to describe Cliff. Certainly I would say he's authentic. He has a great sense of humor, and he's just a great leader.
3 words that would describe Cliff to me are kind, compassionate, and caring.
3 words that I would use to describe Dr. Deveny are compassionate, servant leader, and community activist.
So Cliff, my message to you is congratulations on receiving this coveted honor, and my thanks to you for taking on such a difficult assignment and for being a good person and a family person. I know you've got a wonderful family, and your son, I know, is following you into the physician community along with your wife, who's also a physician. So thank you for all you've done.
So Cliff, I would love to just congratulate you on your award on behalf of Summa Health System and the Board of Directors. Certainly it's well deserved, and we appreciate everything that you do in the community. Thanks.
Cliff, congratulations on this honor tonight. You show us every day what it means to be somebody who cares about this community and helps to drive it forward. I appreciate you, I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate your partnership.
Congratulations, Cliff. I am so proud of you, and I love you dearly, and I'm just so pleased with what you're doing and how you're blessing the community through your activities and through your work for Summa Health System.
So I'm proud to be a part of this event and congratulating Dr. Cliff Deveny in this prestigious honor as our honorary Canal Boat Captain. Cliff, you're the greatest.
The canals meant a lot to myself and to our whole family. In fact, I would tell you that probably the whole trail system probably saved our lives, saved our marriages. Our kids grew up there, our dogs were raised there, and really became part of our life. We moved here when I was 5 years old. My dad was recruited to Goodyear to be one of their corporate attorneys from Westinghouse in Pittsburgh, where I was born. Went to King's School, and then went to Litchfield and Firestone, and very much got to know the whole community inside and out. Started working at Akron City Hospital as a volunteer when I was about 14 years old, and really got to know that whole environment and medical community. My brother and sister both went to the public school system as well. And so we became very much ingrained in Akron and everything about it, and everything from Swenson's to Barnhills to you name it, all the things that happen here. So my son right now works in Pittsburgh as an emergency medicine physician, and he lives not far from where I grew up and was raised. And it's great to have been gone for almost 40 years and to go back there and relive so many of the memories there, and to see, what a great town it is. We can get on bikes there and we can ride, 30, 35 miles, never get on a street, and it's such a welcoming community for bikes and just to be alone. So this is actually my third trip back to Akron to work with Summa Health System. First time was as a volunteer, and then I worked in the research lab under Bill Thaler, and we did a lot of work on genetics of tumors, especially bladder tumors, Jack Summers, and a lot of different people. Rose Ward was my first boss at Akron City Hospital. Then I got interested in medical school and applied, and then came back here after residency in Toledo, Ohio, to start my practice in Valley OBGYN with Ernie Estep was the person who recruited me. And so he and Tim Stover, who was the CEO at Akron General, we were all partners, and practiced and delivered about 3,500 babies. So it was rewarding. And in that process, Al Gilbert, who was the CEO at the time, recruited me to become part of the administration originally as the chair of the OBGYN department, and then Nancy Schlichting, who was the first chief operating officer at 28 years old, recruited me to be the head of women's service line, which was to oversee a lot of the growth and the development of programs. And that really got me involved into the administrative side of the house. And then I came back again in 2017 to become the interim CEO, and then became the permanent CEO at the end of 2018. And one of the things that's fascinating is each one of those different segments, I lived in a different part of town, got to know a different part of the community, just different dynamics. And what you saw is really the diversity of what Akron has to offer. And so in one setting, I'm downtown today. Lived in the suburbs with my kids and grew up in Bath, and then I grew up in West Akron and went to the public schools. And so you just saw how different the community is, and it's such a rich environment and a rich group of people. You always want to have a sense of belonging, and you want to have a sense of purpose, and so my sense of where I belong is here. And I have friends going back to being 5 years old that I still see and know. Scott Weiner is our chair of orthopedics. We played baseball together at 8 years old and went all through school together and college together, and both became chairmen of departments at the same time. So there are people that, that they mean something to you. You can see the impact you have on them. And so humans want to be loved, and I think you go to where you know people and you can also be reciprocal and give that back. And then why keep coming back? Because you really want to make a difference in a community that opened a lot of doors for you. And so many people were mentors for me, gave me opportunities. I had no qualifications for so many things, but somebody saw potential in me, an opportunity, and gave me that opportunity. So, this is all about mentorship. And these are all these words that I used to hear, and I always wondered what the hell they meant. But the funny thing is, you naturally, you move to those things, and I guess I have to see those things in action to believe in them, and then I embrace the word and the concept and have brought it here. And that's one of the things you see here is employees will stay if people mentor them, they give them a path to how they can improve their careers, and it's not always about pay, but purpose and can I continue to grow as an individual. You've got to invest in relationships, and I think it's also important that you understand where people are coming from. And as a physician, you could speak to somebody all day long, but if you didn't take the time to get to know them, their background, what motivates them, what fears they have, what beliefs they have, then you can have a much more effective relationship and you can improve their outcome. So it has to be meaningful and not transactional. I definitely saw early on that serving others in volunteerism was something that was meaningful in my family, not for just attending the events, but seeing the impact you have. And then I think as a physician and a provider, you also saw the impact you could have on people. And so if you could do that in even non-medical ways, I think that's where you feel good, you feel like you're alive, you're making a difference. And as I tell people, there's nothing more meaningful than when someone says thank you, and thank you for delivering my baby, or thank you for giving me a chance, or thank you for believing in me. I mean, those are powerful things that will stick with you. So we were very much big believers in the park system when we were kids, and we would go to all the different parks, and it was so interesting how far they appeared to be away. Like Virginia Kendall was an all-day trip, and going down Sand Run was such a big deal, going through the Ford and driving the cars through it. But when we were in Toledo, one of the things that my wife and I, we started running a lot, riding our bikes, and that became part of our lives. And what we learned when we would come back to visit my parents was there was this whole concept about the towpath trail, and my dad would drive us down the valley and show us where they were going to put it and where they were starting to construct it. And that, in the end, I would say was the thing that sealed us coming back to the community. And then, like I said, it became part of our lives. And I started, running a lot more, running marathons, ran a long marathon with Ken Stewart and Ken Thompson. And I can remember running 25 miles on those trails on the weekends. And, and then our kids grew up on the trails. It became part of our family. And still to this day, I live right by the Beach Street trailhead, and it's so nice just to pop out the back and go on there, and you feel like you're at home. The importance of the Ohio and Erie Canal Coalition is the fact that it makes a huge impact on people's mental health, their physical health, and their well-being. And I can tell you, my kids have lived all over the country, my wife, and they would tell you this is such a special asset to why Akron is such a special place.
So with the fishing derby, it was something that I definitely knew that I wanted to join and participate in because I grew up fishing with my family. It's something that we've always done as a family, fishing around the Akron area, but also making our way up to Lake Erie almost every weekend. It's a quiet activity and one that promotes a lot of conversation between families. I love that I can promote that and share that with others. Every fishing rod that a child touches and uses that day, they get to take home with them, and they're able to use them all summer long and enjoy them all summer long, as well as they have a raffle and they give away bikes, and they're able to enjoy those as well all summer long. So it's definitely a fun event. There's some cost to it, so we appreciate the donations to the event so that we're able to give away those things.